Make sure that we're live.
We're live.
Looks like it. I'm going to check and
Yeah.
make sure it's showing. Yep, showing both of us as live. So that's great. Welcome, everybody. We're going to just wait a minute or two, allow some more people to join, and we're going to start a great evening of talking about Savannah with Architectolder and looking at some of his photographs and hearing about his experience there. We'd love to have your comments during the show. You can always click on the video, and then if you're on your phone, it'll be a live chat at the bottom, and if you're on a PC, it'll be over to your right-hand side. But we'd love to have your comments, your questions for Architectolder, and let us know if you've been to Savannah or maybe some of your favorite places there. But yeah, I know Architectolder's been sharing some of his pictures on X, and they look fantastic. So really eager to hear about his experience. Architectolder, let me ask you, sir, how's the weather where you are today?
It's hot today. It's not raining, and that's been the first day in about a week that it hadn't rained at least a little. I think it may have sprinkled just a hair today, but it's been really, really kind of warm here so far. How about you?
Today has been a lovely day. It got up to about 80 degrees, maybe. No rain, all sunshine. Drove my sports car to work today and enjoyed it. And it's supposed to get a little hotter tomorrow, maybe 83, 85. But when you say it's hot where you are, how hot are we talking?
In the mid 80s, and then it's Georgia, so I moved back to Georgia, so it's humid. The humidity in Georgia is something else. Like, I miss North Carolina already. It would get hot up there, but it's a different kind of hot, and it's only 2 states away, but still. It's just different down here. The sun just beats you down here, and the the humidity is just, you need to get done what you're gonna get done in the morning or late in the afternoon if you're gonna work outside. So.
That southern heat definitely is difficult on me.
I want to move to Maine.
Maine might be nice. Yeah, I'm in Ohio, and I think it gets hot here in the summertime. We'll get up in the 90s, maybe low 90s, and it's humid. But then I go to the south, and it's just a whole nother kind of humid. Even Savannah, we were talking about Savannah tonight. I went there in the summer, and man, it is just oppressive. I love Florida too, but I don't think I could ever move there just because of the heat.
Right. The only good thing about Savannah, and you are at the humidity is a whole other factor. But Savannah, the live oaks are everywhere, and you got parts. There were 24 squares, and we'll get into that later. But they got those big live oaks everywhere, and you can go sit on the park benches down there, and there's kind of a little breeze blowing through there all the time. So it's a really nice place. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I will be going back, but like you said, I will not be going back in the summer. I'm gonna wait to fall.
Yeah, that's a smart move. It's amazing how when you get in the shade of those live oaks, I mean, it can be, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe 20 degrees cooler in the shade there. It's pretty amazing how well those trees do it at shading,
They do, and they're so big, and it's just a nice atmosphere. It's almost like you couldn't ask for anything better than that. And the closest one that I was to I got an Airbnb this time, and it was on Bull Street, which is one of the main drags there in the historic district, and it's a square called Chippewa, and Chippewa was where they filmed Forrest Gump sitting on the bench.
Yep. Yes, it was. So your Airbnb was right close to Chippewa Square?
I could throw a rock.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
I could throw a rock. That's the first picture I took. That's where the statue of the founder of Georgia, James Oglethorpe, was. I think it was 1738 when Georgia was founded. And but I could walk out the door, take a right, and look down that street, and I could see a statue. And that's the first place we went when we got down there. I took my nephew kind of to be my bodyguard and keep me out of trouble. And but we walked down there and took a bunch of pictures down there and just walked around. And that's when I walked through the first square, and the live oaks were down there, and kind of sat down and just, we drove like 5, 6, I think it's 5 hours down there, and we was kind of tired from driving. So we just sat there for a minute and looked, and it was just. I fell in love with it right then, and then just getting out, exploring the different places, and going around and seeing all the old buildings and all the historic homes and all. I just cobblestone streets, and the live oaks, the Spanish moss. I mean, it just grabbed me immediately, and I was like, this is not Europe, which I'd prefer to go to Europe if I could to see the really old stuff. But to me, it really grabbed me and said, this is somewhere where you want to come back to, and I knew right away.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've only been to Savannah once. I went with my wife and my 2 daughters. It was right during COVID. It might have been 2020 that summer, and yeah, we really loved it. Like I said, the heat was hard, but if you're smart and stay in the shade and kind of do things in the evening or in the morning, it's not too bad.
I was gonna go. This trip got cut short. Just some stuff happened, and I just had to cut it short. But I was planning on going to Charleston too. So I was going to do Savannah and Charleston, and they're different, but they're similar. And I hear a lot of really good things about Charleston, and I've always heard a lot of good things about Savannah. I thought Charleston was the better of the two, but it's just a kind of a pick 'em. Some people like Charleston, some people like Savannah. I really love Savannah, and I think I'll really love Charleston from everything I've heard.
Yeah.
But it was just, Savannah's just a completely different vibe from anywhere I've ever been.
Yeah.
And just really loved it. Things kind of slowed down in the deep South. I say that every now and then.
Yeah.
It's just a different kind of people down there, and laid back atmosphere. And in the trees, the streets lined with the live oaks, and it's just, everything is just top notch for me. So I really enjoyed it. Encourage anybody who wants to go down there to go. And then we're thinking about trying to get a trip together with a bunch of mutuals this autumn, about going down there and just a bunch of us hanging out for a couple of days. So maybe that'll happen.
Very cool.
That would be a really good thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, look, we've already got a stream of comments coming in, so this is great. Let's see here. Endless Days of Summer says, "Hi, architect."
Hello.
We've got ZZ sharing some flowers, some love here. We've got Jana Jones. "Hey, I saw your notification and had to come on."
I think Jana's been to Savannah. She's a New Yorker.
Oh, okay. He says, "I have never been to Savannah, but have driven through Georgia a bunch of times."
Yeah.
Very cool. Anna's sharing some, it looks like Chinese or Japanese. I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, I can't read that one. Add Your Name says, "I love a live oak."
I do too.
Heat is hard. It definitely is. No joke. Okay, and I will be there with you guys. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so my family went to Savannah first, and then I think it was the following year, 2 years later, we went to Charleston, because we had heard the same thing. If you like one, you're probably going to like the other. We did like Charleston. I think they've got like this open air market down by the water. I can't remember what it's called though, but that was pretty cool. We enjoyed that. Of Savannah and Charleston, I think I like Savannah better for the square layout of the city,
right?
And some of that stuff. But yeah, definitely, you'll have to go to Charleston and get some photos for us, and we'll do another stream, kind of go through them.
That sounds like a plan. Definitely going to do it.
Awesome. Well, we've got some photos here from you, and if you want to just dig in here and kind of walk us through, we can do that. Sound good?
Yeah, that one is next door to the church. I can't really get a good idea if that's the Baptist church or the Presbyterian church there next to it, but that's the Bank of America. And just took a picture of the architecture, and just thought that kind of right there is Savannah to me. It's got the old beautiful architecture. You got the lamp post, which if you followed my account for any length of time, I love a lamp post. And then I like the sky. It was dark, but the sky call it a little bit of blue hour maybe there. And I just love that picture. You know,
Oh
that
yeah,
picture's going on the wall there. So, and I got
that
it in black and white too, but I decided to give it to you in color. But I really love that picture. And I'm starting to get into night photography. And if I ever get this house squared away, then I'm going to, you know, be able to get out and there's a lot of places I want to go and take some night photos. And, but this picture here to me was one of my favorites. That's the reason I wanted to start off with, but it gives everybody an idea of what they're doing down in Savannah. That's the Bank of America. I mean, how many banks of America have you been by? They look like it's the old, you know, a cement block building or a little fancier than that building, but that one right there is kind of special. Like people want to be in architecture like that. People would want to go in there to that bank. People would want to go in there, and I think architecture like that tells people how to behave. You know, tells people how to act. Nobody's going in there acting like a fool, or nobody's going in there, you know, causing problems or anything. They're going to want to be there, and that's what I think
yeah,
about good architecture. And then the lampposts, I always say that lampposts tell people how they feel about the architecture, and that's kind of a nice lamppost. Seen better, we've seen worse, but the whole scene there, that picture says a lot to me personally, and
yeah.
so that's the reason I wanted to start with that one.
It is beautiful. Everything you just said, spot on. One thing I really like about the color photo is you've got the orange in the lighting and the stone, and then the blue. Those two
Mhm.
complementary colors are just gorgeous. It really adds to this.
Yeah,
Um,
I forgot exactly what I sent you, but I think I put several night photos in because those are the ones that I really like the most. You know, and then I took just a lot
yeah,
of houses, but walking down in that district right there, where all those big churches are, that's down past Chippewa, and you know, I really thought that was my
okay.
favorite area of Savannah. But there's a lot of favorite areas of Savannah. I mean, I just walked around. I walked, I think about 10 miles in one day. And I started off on the bus
Wow,
and walking, just going around looking at stuff. And then I got off and walked about 10 miles in one day. I think I walked 18 miles in two
wow.
days. So I
You
didn't
are
mind.
a
I was just,
wild man. Good for you.
I'm just happy as I could be because I think there's something about people that come together and put something together like that, especially on those old streets. I took a lot of pictures of just streets, you know, just with the live oaks coming down on each side, and then the houses lined up there in a row,
Yeah.
cars parked on the street. But it was just a place where you wanted to be, and you felt safe too. So
Yeah, architecture like this, add your name as saying, I've been inspired by architecture to start taking meaningful pictures. Absolutely. Like you said, when you've got a nice outfit on, or if you're in a church, you're at a wedding, some place, where you can just tell it's upper scale. The attitude is more serious or proper. It makes you act, more fitting and more proper. You want to kind of put on your best, and it's the
right,
same with architecture like this. When you're in an inspiring place like this, it definitely kind of lifts up your soul and makes you want to kind of like live up to the architecture that you're surrounded by.
yeah,
And the opposite is true for that too, right? When you're around just old shacks and things that haven't been kept up, it's
yeah.
pretty
I
demoralizing.
don't want to go too far into Plato and all, but you know, he said that beautiful things transcend the ordinary. To paraphrase, a heavy paraphrase, this is my take on what he said.
Yeah,
He said that once you experience something that's beautiful, that it does something to your soul and it changes you on the inside. But what it really does, and the quote that I remember the most was he said, "You become a friend of God when you can interpret something that's beautiful and have that feeling, then he said that's where you become a friend of God." And that's to me, when I say beautiful things and things that produce awe, you know, it's a different experience than just, you know, looking at you know, a nice car or something like that. Is This is something that's useless. It doesn't doesn't do anything for you except it transcends the soul. So to me, that's what, and that's kind of what I chase when I'm out on my trips and when I'm taking pictures and all. I'm trying to chase an angle of something that's beautiful that you've never seen before, and that's what I'm trying to give to the audience.
Fantastic. And I do want you had mentioned you're going to put this on your wall. You do have a website where you sell prints, and I want to I've got it pulled up here. I'm going to show it later in the show. So people stay tuned. If you're not familiar with Architectolder's website, we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. All right, our next picture here. What are we looking at here?
That is the Sixpence. It is a English pub. It's right across the street from where I stayed. And, I walked out the door. We were looking for a place to eat. We walked down there and walked by and looked. And I just liked the way that it was laid out there. So I took that photo. We wound up not stopping there, but I took a bunch of photos of it. There's a English phone booth on the other end of that. I don't think you can see it in that picture, but I just thought that was an interesting thing. And that is a Savannah vibe. They have a lot of sidewalk cafes. I think it, in some ways, Savannah reminds you a little bit of Paris in that the sidewalk cafes, because almost all of them, there's somewhere to eat on the sidewalk everywhere you go, just about. I mean, you can throw a rock from one place to another and hit a sidewalk cafe down there in certain areas of it. And it's just a vibe. And I thought that that picture there there's a lot in Savannah. You don't run into an English pub every now and then, but you look at the sidewalk cafes with the canopy and the those type cobblestones or pavers there, and it's just a nice vibe. You got trees growing there for the people to sit under. You got it's just a place where you want to go. And I said, I'm gonna take a picture of that. And that one I really like too. I think I could probably done a little bit better job with it. I got a couple shots of it, but that one kind of catches the vibe, and that's what I'm trying to convey to the audience. Is this what if you want to go to Savannah? These are the things you're gonna run into, or I want you to run into anyway.
Yeah. One thing that I absolutely loved about Europe is how so many of the restaurants and cafes have dining out on the sidewalk. It's just so fun to sit outside and enjoy your dinner and do people watching. And you're right, this captures that here in the USA. So very, very cool. We've got a few comments here. Let's see. Add Your Name says we've had a lot of movies filmed here.
Absolutely.
Jana Jones is asking if you got to Fort Jackson.
I did not, because I had to cut my visit short. I didn't get to go to Bonaventure Cemetery, and I'm going to go back. When I go back, I want to go back on the weekend, because Saturday night they have a midnight tour of Bonaventure Cemetery, or I don't know if it's midnight, but it's after dark, and you go down there and go through it in the dark. And that was where, if talking about the movies, that's where the bird girl on the cover of the book Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, that's where that statue was at. And now it's in a museum. It's in the Telfair Museum now. They took it out of Bonaventure, but I want to go to that cemetery because there's a lot down there I want to see. There's a lot of, they have the trees, the live oaks lined up down a lane there where you can take pictures of it like that. There's a place out in Louisiana. I think it's right outside of New Orleans. And there was a guy I talked to that's going down there in the fall, early winter, and he was wanting me to try to hook up with him and go get some people and all get down there together. It's outside of New Orleans, but I cannot think of. But it's that huge plantation down there. It's supposed to be haunted, and so I wanted to go down there because I'm getting into ghost stories now. One of my mutuals and I have been writing a couple of stories about it, and then we're writing just easy stuff, easy reading, kind of short stories. But it's been fun, and I'm gonna continue doing that. And I'm gonna go around to some of these places and take pictures of ghost like stuff. But Savannah is world famous for having ghosts. I mean, it is a tourist, it is an industry down there to go around
Yeah.
and this haunted house or this haunted place or this ghost is here, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we usually don't do the ghost toury kind of stuff when we travel, but when we were in Savannah in the evening, we did a ghost tour. It was fun. They take you
Yeah.
to the old historical houses and say, yeah, so and so lived here, and they think it's haunted and such and such. So yeah, it's definitely fun to do there. Add Your Name says we have 4 or 5 forts around Savannah, so that should keep you
Right.
busy, AO, if you want to check out some of those. Movable
Yes.
35 Umis says, hey there. Jana Jones says, that's cool. I was just looking at Google Maps, love old forts. Julia Roberts filmed a movie here.
Yeah.
And yeah, let me see here. There was one other comment I want to do. Yeah, ZZ said, I really like classical architecture. Life is hidden in every corner of it. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely we'll see some of that here tonight in AO's pictures. Let's go on to the next one here.
Classical architecture pleases the eye.
Yeah,
it's got elements of golden ratio if you'll look hard enough. And if you look at something that's you just look at it and say, man, that looks good. There's probably a golden ratio going on there. And classical architecture, as you know, the Pantheon is just eat up with it. So
yeah. What is this building here we're looking at?
I'm not as sure. I think maybe it was a former. I don't know if it's a factory or a store or what, or a hotel or what, but they've turned it into like a residential homes, and I just liked it. I like the vibe of it. It was a pretty building. It was toward night. It looks like dusk, but I like the street. I got some different pictures of some of these. I didn't want to overwhelm you with pictures, but if you look down the street, that's typical of a Savannah street because you got the live oaks and you got shaded paths almost, and then you got the homes with the stairs. It's like in the historic district. There's a lot of them that have stairs up to it, and then they got stairs going up down under them, and they've got people on the bottom, and they got people up on the top, and I guess all the way up. But I didn't go inside any of them. But that building there, I like that shot and that angle, and that. What I was trying to do is give you an idea of what I was seeing in Savannah and what's different in Savannah from, say, Atlanta or Rome or Macon or any place else, is that you run into a lot of this in Savannah. You run into it everywhere. And it's really a cool feeling to go down there and walk those streets.
Oh, yeah. One thing I really appreciate about Savannah is that they don't just tear down their old buildings. They preserve them, they upkeep them, they repurpose them. But, it's easy just to tear down a building and throw up some modern, cookie cutter building. But to work to preserve, your history like this, it's something we should celebrate. Definitely.
Absolutely. And that one is Chippewa Square, and that it is the founder of Georgia, James Oglethorpe. And Oglethorpe was the one, he came over on the ship, and he come over with a lot of, when Oglethorpe was an interesting character because, and I'm not an Oglethorpe aficionado, but he brought over people that were in debtor prison and wanted to give them a new start. And he wanted to give them a new start in Georgia. And he let Catholics come in. He let Jewish people come in. He was friends with the Indians. He got along with the Spanish, but he stayed far enough away from them to avoid conflict. But when he laid out Savannah, he laid it out. He was kind of the architect of it too. And he laid it out on 24 squares. So the squares in Savannah, you go from square to square to square. But he built houses and they built churches around them and built little communities around each one of the stairs. And I got going down there and find out a little bit about him. I knew about him from elementary school, growing up in Georgia, but he was a much more important character than he's given credit for. It's almost like George Washington. George Washington is like, everybody knows George Washington, but do you really know about all of his accomplishments and all what he done? And I think Oglethorpe is kind of the same way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And this is right in Chippewa Square, this statue, correct?
Right in the center.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
went down and had a few cocktails down on River Street, and walked back, and I walked by that statue, and I swore he looked at me, but that's just a Savannah ghost story. So you can't pay a whole lot of attention to it.
Especially after you've had a few drinks, right?
Absolutely. If he'd have said something, I'd have run.
That's good.
And there's one of the churches. I think that's the Independent Presbyterian Church, that steeple, and it is really a beautiful place. Would love to have been able to go in it, but I couldn't get in. I could never go by when they had it open. But that steeple is, that's pretty nice steeple. That's getting European in design there, and to me, that was a beautiful building. Really liked it.
Yeah, that's gorgeous for sure. This one's a really cool picture.
That's City Hall, and if you'll notice the leaves on the tree, the reason I like that picture, and I didn't give you, it looks like I gave you the unedited one because it looks like you got a little something going on up in that tree with the flash. But that one is City Hall down, and that's getting close to the river down there. But I like that because the live oaks pretty much stay green year round. And it threw them in, it looked like fall leaves there, and that was just the lighting. But I really like that picture, and that's a beautiful building back there, that City Hall. And you don't get that much anywhere else. You get the big square block glass and steel boxes, and it's refreshing to see something like that. And I know that they've taken good care of it. So
yeah. I love there's a lot of atmosphere, even though it's nighttime, you can still see things. You can see the atmosphere, the clouds, the light on the building, and
a palm tree in there too.
All right, let's look here.
Yeah, we go to St. John.
Oh yeah, very cool.
That's one of the prettiest churches I've ever been in. I think I would have liked to spend more time there. It was under heavy construction when I went. I didn't get a lot of good pictures of the outside because they had scaffolding up both twin towers. It's a twin tower church, which is my favorites. And but it's really a beautiful, on the inside. It is a beautiful, beautiful church, and it rivals the ones in Europe to me.
Yeah, that it really is fantastic. I visited this church as well. I actually have a few pictures at the end. If we've got time, I'll share a couple pictures of mine. I got a couple pictures from Bonaventure, and I tried to not duplicate anything that you've got. But this church really knocked my socks off. And what's funny is it's a pretty building on the outside, but nothing like the interior. Am I right? It's a lot more plain on the outside.
A lot more plain. Yeah. It's got the big, beautiful towers, and you can see them. People. When you ask somebody how to get somewhere, they will give you directions based on the cathedral, the basilica, and you can see those towers when you're out. You get out walking around, you can see them poking up over the horizon, and you go. You know where you're at. Of course, I've got the phone, but anyway, it was just. I got a couple of shots that I should have gave you of just the tower sticking up where you couldn't see the scaffolding above the skyline of the buildings and everything. And to me, it's a really good place. Now, I'm going to tell you this. My nephew, I wouldn't say he's an atheist, but he's definitely not a Bible thumping believer. I'll put it that way. And he walked into that place, and when he walked out, I mean,
Okay.
he was incredulous. I mean, his eyes were bigger. He was animated. He was like, I have never seen anything like that in my life. And I said, well, and I didn't say anything to him because I knew what he was experiencing. He had experienced something that was profound and took him away from ordinary. And those people
Yeah.
made a commitment to do that to people. They wanted to do that to please the people, and they wanted to do that to please their God. And but he told me, he said, I'm gonna tell you, I'm moved. I've never felt anything like that in my life. So we talked about it a little bit after that, but it was a really a nice experience to go in there and take him in there. You know, somebody that never seen that. And that's I swear that's one reason I do what I do, because that same feeling was the first time I saw a Gothic cathedral. Was
Yeah.
April the 15th, 2019, when Notre Dame burned. And the next day I got up and looked at Google Notre Dame Paris and looked at that cathedral. I had no idea that anything that beautiful could even be possible. So Gothic's always been my favorite, and this is kind of a Gothic cathedral here. Well, not a kind, it is a Gothic cathedral, neo-Gothic anyway, but it will, beautiful architecture like that moves people, and it changes people, and it changed me. Going to Europe changed me. And so I knew that this stuff was there, but getting around Bernini and Michelangelo and going into St. Peter's and all those other beautiful places, it blew me away. So
Yeah.
I like to bring pictures like that to people and let them look at it and hopefully have the same experience.
It definitely has changed me, and your account definitely has invigorated me, and kept me wanting to see more of Europe, and more places like this. I gotta tell you, Ao, my wife and my oldest daughter are going to Notre Dame, Paris tomorrow. They are they're in Paris right now. I am so jealous. I tried to pack myself in the suitcase, but they threw me out, told me I had to stay home with our other daughter. They were going there for a work trip. So, good for them. But yeah, I'm really eager to hear about their experience in the newly renovated Notre Dame.
Yes, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you know that the thing about that is they said they got within 15 to 30 minutes of losing the whole thing. And the firefighters of Paris saved it. So hats off to the firefighters of Paris. And that was a great job. Great job by all the workers, because they put that thing back. They probably put a modernized version, but they put it back as close as they could to what they were going to do.
Yeah.
The French, to me, architecturally, they're nobody's, art. The Greeks and the Romans did it. I mean, the statues and stuff, and you go down there and go through those museums and see all the oil paints, and the masters, Michelangelo, who's his equal. Not very many people. Bernini's the same way, but something about the French and their architecture, man, it just got me right. They got my number. So I want to go to France and just walk around and just, I'd be happy to go to Paris and just walk from church to church to church, taking pictures for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. This is another one inside the Gothic church here, correct?
Right. Yes. It's back toward the asp, and that just got the stained glass. They got stained glass windows pretty much all the way around it, but I just like that shot. Give you a good idea of what you want to, if you want to sit on the right side of the pews there and look down into where the fathers will be speaking. That's where they'll be from, and I just think that's. I mean, look at that. They didn't have to do that. That's 10 times better than anything I've ever seen in a church. Where they've got that built up, and then they got it built up with the stained glass. And as you know, for people that don't know, the stained glass and the porticos with the carbons were for people that couldn't read when they started Gothic cathedrals, and they were telling stories in stone and in glass. So the Bible stories were conveyed to people that couldn't read, so that when people were telling them about it, they could see what they were talking about and get a different flavor for it. And I actually think that helped with the spread of Christianity throughout Europe. So
Yeah.
and it's primarily a Catholic thing. So
yeah, it's definitely fun to I would always take my kids and look at the stained glass and ask them, okay, so what Bible story is this? Because, a lot of these churches have a lot of stained glass, or like you said, they might even have sculptures or carvings, like in Milan, the Duomo has just the whole exterior is covered in carvings. It's fun to go through because they cover quite a few Bible stories. So kind of fun if you're ever waiting in line somewhere, to get into a church or something, kind of look at those and try to decode them. A lot of fun. Oops. Looks like we got some of these live oaks in this picture.
Yeah, live oaks and Spanish moss. I'm not sure exactly where that's at, but my nephew probably saved my bacon a couple of times because I get so mesmerized by getting out the street taking pictures that one time I almost stepped out in front of a car and he grabbed my shoulder. No. But that's Savannah right there. If you like that picture, if you like that kind of lifestyle, if you like that atmosphere, that aesthetic, whatever you want to call it, that's Savannah. I mean, you're going to see live oaks down there. If you go to the historic district, now I didn't go outside the historic district very far, but I love the old district of Savannah. If I had to live in a city, that's where I would want to go. Based on everywhere I've been, that's where I want to go. So.
Yeah, it is. It's quintessential Savannah, and it's just fantastic. Liberty Mom says, "Hi there, gentlemen. I just want to say thank you to AO. He's inspired me to put a camera back in my hands and renewed an interest in me for beautiful architecture." So thank you, Liberty Mom.
Glad Absolutely. Liberty Mom's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, she's great. Definitely. She's got a great account. She shares a lot about classical music, a lot of the history behind it, the beauty of it. And if you're not following her, you should definitely check her out. Got a lot of great posts. Janet Jones says, AO inspired me to post more pics I have taken over the years. Great.
Yeah, she's a good photographer too. I retweet her a lot. I retweet her and Liberty Mom a lot because I like Liberty Mom's choice of classical music, and then Janet always takes good pictures.
Great. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Jana's account. I'm not familiar with her.
Another live oak. Another live oak. Hopefully, I didn't get. This is not where I got almost squashed, but you can see there. That's just a different kind of living. It's got kind of a New York vibe to it with the row houses and all, and a few of the trees, but you don't see that anywhere else. And I don't see how they keep those live oaks from tearing up the street. I guess the roots grow straight down, but I don't know. But the streets down there are not in bad shape at all. You would think with those trees growing on them, and some of those trees have got to be hundreds of years old.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. They definitely keep it. The streets are nice there. The sidewalks are nice. It really is just great just to explore, walk down any random street. Right? It really is a fun city.
Well, that's that. I told you I got out and I rode the bus, the sightseeing bus, and they take you around and show you everything. I took a few pictures out of it. I went back to. I would get on the bus and go to a spot and just go walking up and down the street, and I found all kinds of stuff. Now that's Forsyth Park there, and that's that fountain is based on French, and I forgot which one it is. Do you know?
I don't. I've been to this park and I photographed this fountain too, but I don't know the history of the fountain.
I think it's of Versailles, but don't quote me on it. But I will find out and post that picture later and put it in the notes and give them the history of that fountain. But that's a beautiful place, and that's a place where people want to be. And again, I want to say it's like people that were around that. I saw black people, I saw white people, I saw Asian people, I saw all kinds of people, fat people, skinny people, medium people, me, and everybody was in a good mood. And being around stuff like that puts people in a good mood. And that's to me, and everybody got along and there was no problems. And, it was great. And the people would walk up to you and say, hello, how you doing? And that kind of thing. And it was just a good experience to be there.
That was exactly my experience as well. There was all types of people there, and everybody was just chilling, having a good time. And like you said, so much of it is about the atmosphere. I think this is a positive, uplifting atmosphere for sure.
Yeah.
Whoops, went too far there. There's another shot of the fountain.
Right. That's a beautiful place, and that's one of the places for South Park is probably the largest of the places. I mean, it's got I guess soccer fields on it, and then the Confederate Memorial is right down. If you go past the fountain and hook a left, the way we come up on it anyway, you'll see a long street, a walkway with live oaks down it, and at the end of it, there's a huge monument. I bet it's probably 125 feet tall, maybe, and they got a Confederate soldier on top of it, and he is facing north. And to me, this is what I like about Savannah. That Confederate memorial kind of encapsulated it, and for me, it's like they look at all their history. The history of Savannah goes back to the 1700s, and it goes back through the Revolutionary War. And one of the monuments down there is to a guy named Casimir Pulaski, and he was he was kind of the godfather of the American cavalry in the United States, because he was from Poland. He came here and he trained them, and he was killed right outside of Savannah. And they really they got a huge, really nice monument to him down there, and I got a picture of somewhere. I walked around it and did a video. I think I did a live stream from it too. But they embrace their history. Like they don't whitewash it out. They say that this is what happened, and during 2020, nobody went to that memorial and tried to do anything to it. There's two memorials in Savannah to famous people that have fences around them. The Confederate Memorial's one, and Pulaski is the other one. But that's what it to me is history. We're going to look at our history. We're going to look at the good parts. We're going to look at the bad parts. We're going to look at all parts of it. And to me, with the tearing down statues and everything else, I thought it was just refreshing that they would do that. And it's a huge monument. I got a couple pictures of it. I'll try to do a little write up on it. But to me, that said real. We're not going to fake it. We're not going to be politically correct. We're going to look at our history and put it out there for everybody to do. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, well, for not to get not to go off on a political tangent or anything like that, but for people who wanted the Confederate memorials and things like that torn down, I can understand where they're coming from. They didn't like that part of history, but those who don't know their history are going to repeat it most likely. So, like you said, you don't want to whitewash your history. You want to put all the cards on the table and let future generations know the path that they've come from, the good things people have done, the mistakes people have made, the bad things people have done, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right? It's all part of our history, and and I'll leave it at that. But I agree with you, sir.
And that is the house. That's called the Mercer Williams house, and that was the house where I think the guy's name was Danny. I can't think of his last name, but Jim Williams was one of the main characters in it. And the house is named after him. He was the antique dealer in the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil book and movie, and that's where the murder took place. And that house there is kind of world famous, and people direct you around that house. I took a video out in front of that house walking down the street, but that was I was going to go down there and tour it and just to see what it was like, but I don't know that they had a tour when I was there. So but that would be a good one to go in and see if it looked like on the inside like it did in the movie. But that's where the murder took place, and that book kind of put Savannah on the map, I think, in a lot of places, and it should have been already on the map, because I think it's a wonderful place. But that movie, you can go around and go to the various sites that they mentioned in the book. Now the book goes into a lot more depth, and I've talked to Elle, and she said I should read the book. I watched the movie and went down there, but she said the book's really, really good. And so I went around from place to place to place, just seeing places where the book was, and some of the characters showed up in. And one of them was the Church Hill pub, and that's where I met the ghost in the restroom downstairs. So we won't talk much about that, but maybe that was cocktails too. But but it's cool to go around there, especially if you know the story and you know the individual places that appear in the books, and it's really, really cool thing. But that house is where the murder took place, and that was Jim Williams' home, the antiques dealer. And before that, they called the Mercer Williams house. And Johnny Mercer, the singer, was from Savannah, but the house was originally built for a Union general named Mercer, and they called it the Mercer Williams house all these years. But that general never lived in it, but it was built for him. But if you go to the Mercer Williams house, that is it, and that's the home in the movie.
Very cool. It's beautiful. What a beautiful house.
Mm-hmm.
Ursula O says she has reposted the stream. Welcome, Ursula. Glad you're tuned in, and thanks for reposting it. Appreciate that.
That is a Gothic synagogue, and I think there's one in the world.
Wow.
It's in Savannah, but that Oglethorpe let those guys come in, and the Jewish community, and he received a lot of flack for it. But that's one of the oldest denominations in the United States, and it is the oldest in Georgia. But I saw that building out walking around and said, I want to go over there and see what that is. And so I got over there and I said, oh, this is Gothic. I really like it. I went up there and I seen the Star of David on it. And I said, what is this? And, so I go up there, there's a sign on it, and I can go into it later, but I think it's the only Gothic synagogue in the world. So definitely the only Gothic synagogue that I've ever seen, and the only one in Georgia. I'm almost positive. So
yeah,
cool building though.
Definitely, and the sunlight there on the spire is particularly beautiful. Great photo.
That is the same place, I think. That is the synagogue too, I believe. And that red door kind of drew me in. So I love the Gothic, and take a picture of it any kind of time I can. And the red door in particular, because I don't know if you know the history of the red door, which means many different things. But one of the things is the status symbols. If you painted your door red, that was telling your neighbors that you owned the house free and clear. So, and in Savannah, there's a lot of red doors.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that. Beautiful.
And that's the waving girl. She went down every day to the river and waved at the ships coming back in, and she lived about 60 something years. She always took a dog with her, and she went down there and stood on that perch and waved at the ships coming in. And somebody had said that the rumor was that she had a boyfriend and he sailed off and never came back, but she was always there waiting on him, and she said that was untrue. So believe who you want to believe.
Yeah, this is the river's straight behind your back in this photo, right?
Right.
Yeah, I've walked along this park. It's a beautiful park here.
That's her name.
Yeah. Florence Martin. Beautiful.
That is the Telfair Museum, and I encourage everybody to go to there because I love that painting. That's called the Black Knight at Circe. Is that right? I can't pronounce it. Anyway, but it's the Black Knight picture, and that thing is like I would say 12 by 16, 12 feet by 16 feet. And wow. I took some pictures of the details of it, the people holding the horse, and the Black Knight there. He was, I guess, that was King John, I believe, that was laying there deceased on the battlefield. And I think that the Black Knight was getting out and showing him respect. And
Wow.
so he should have been the king of England, but he died before he could assume the throne. But that's a beautiful painting, and it's huge. I have a painting friend. Uh, I think she goes by Winter now, but she's the artist that painted a picture of President Trump, and they presented it to getting shot, and they presented it to Eric Trump, and he signed it along with her. And I took that for her and sent her all of the details of it. But she really liked it too. But to me, that's a really cool thing. You know, people always on me about being photorealistic because I like Caravaggio, but that's not a photorealistic painting. But it is very skillful, and it is conveying emotion to the viewer, and the artist is trying to tell you something. I think that guy's name is Julian Story, and I believe that was painted in 1888.
Okay.
Check that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I really do love the brushwork on it. It has, a sense of movement and energy in the brushstrokes, and it's definitely. I did not see that when I was there. I'll have to check that out next time.
Yeah. Also at the Telfair Museum, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he went over there in the late 1800s and got a lot of statues, plaster casts made of some of the statues. And one of my favorite is it Lacoon? I can't pronounce that word. Lacoon and his sons. With the Trojan priest that was attacked by the sea serpent and killed his sons and blinded him, depending on which version of the story you get. That's there. There's the dying Gaul is there, and there's 4 or 5 statues that are just really worth your time to go sit around. I took a few pictures of them, but I always wanted to say that dying Gaul statue, and they got it as close as you can get it here.
Yeah,
it was taken of the. They did the cast of the actual statue, so it's
that's awesome.
So you can go get right up next to them and see them just up close. And at the Vatican Museum, when I got to Lacoon, I mean, it was like a football scrum. It was worse at Lacoon than it was at the Pieta.
So. Yeah, it's and they've got a rope in front of it, right? Like 5-10 feet in front of it, so it's super hard to get close to Laocoon for sure. I know exactly what you're talking about. So that'd be very cool to see the replica at this museum. No. There's also a replica in Florence in the Uffizi Gallery. You can get a lot closer to that one. I've got a video of that on my my X account. And the Dying Gaul, the original, is in the Capitoline Museum in Rome. And I went to that museum like first thing in the morning by myself. And I almost had the museum to myself. It was crazy. I turned the corner and walked into the room where the Dying Gaul was, and he was just there by himself. It was actually like kind of surreal. It was almost like he was really there dying. And I was able to do like a 360 video around him, just right up close to him. There's no ropes roping him off or anything. So I've got that video on X also. I might share it after the stream here. But
and for people listening, if you go to Rome, go early or go late, and preferably go early because everybody's eating breakfast and everybody's tired from the night before. If you want to go, especially the Vatican Museum, especially the Sistine Chapel, get there as early as you possibly can and make a beeline for it. Like the Hall of Mounts, I remember thinking, I'm going to get run over here, and I don't care because I'm taking these pictures. And but somebody I went with a tour guide because I wanted to get into some special stuff. But she told me, she said, if you'd have been here this morning at about 8 o'clock, she said, we could have played football in this hall. Oh. Said, my goodness.
Wow.
So I went at 1 o'clock. But if you're going to, Savannah's a little different, but if you go to Rome, go early.
Yep, for sure. Well, good night, Jana. Thanks for joining us. Let's see here. Do we have still got a few more pictures here?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures. It's like some of my artist friends are talking about vanishing points and using vanishing points, and I like vanishing points. I didn't know I like vanishing points, but I like tree line lanes, and that's got the lamp post in it, Spanish moss, the live oaks, and the nice sidewalks. So that's one of my favorite pictures right there. And
Yeah.
it's Savannah vibe, don't you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. And this is just right in the middle of the city. They got all these squares. You can just walk under these trees, from square to square. It really is a charming city. I love the branches in this one. You can see just how they stretch out and kind of snake their way, just almost totally horizontal from the trees. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And there's 100 places like that to take a picture. And there's this kind of a wrought iron that looks like a wrought iron fence there. Wrought iron is real big in Savannah too.
Yeah.
So you got the sidewalk, you got the nice brickwork with the wrought iron, you got the live oak tree and the sun going down. So I thought that was a nice picture there too. So
Perfect recipe. I think that is the last of your pictures. I want to share for people a couple things that you were talking about here. Number one, let me see if I can present my screen. Make sure I get the right one here. We're going to try this, see if we can move that. So this is the Forrest Gump scene that we were talking about earlier. And you can see right behind them is the statue of Oglethorpe is his name. Is that right?
yes.
Yeah. Now, if you go there, you won't actually see a bench. They just set a bench there for the movie, but it was right there at that location.
And that bench is in a museum, and I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, there is was it like I can't remember if it was a college or something like that has a museum there, and I think they've got the bench inside there. Well, we didn't go inside,
Yeah.
but I remember hearing the same.
If you go to Savannah, you hear a SCAD. They own like 70 buildings there or something. And it's Savannah College of Art and Design. If anybody doesn't know what SCAD is, but I think that probably they got that bench somewhere there. They took it off the street, but if you want to go down there to see it, it's pretty easy to find. But
yeah,
there's a lot of benches down there, and I like
something
benches.
else.
So that's one of my photographers.
Something else I wanted to share was your website here, Ayo. Whoops, let me close a couple of these tabs. Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about your website?
Yes, I just got it. We sell prints. We ship prints pretty much anywhere in the United States, and for international or anything, we do digital downloads, or you can do digital downloads. Matter of fact, it's the easiest and cheapest way to go about it. That way, you can print it out. If you buy one of my prints, you own the print, and you can print it out for many times as you want to, as big as you want to, and make it into gifts if you want to, whatever you want to do. It just helps me out a little bit, gives me a little pocket money to go out and do some of this traveling. So I appreciate all of you supporting me on there. I need to add some of these Savannah pictures in there. This house is just
you got some
nuts right now, but my nephew takes care of the computer end of it, and he will be adding some in the next couple of days. I got a little bit of everything in there. A lot of nature photos, a lot of beach photos. Some of it's AI, some of it's not, and but most of it's my photography. And I'm going to hopefully this fall make a big trip all the way up the northeast coast, going up to all the way up to New York, and see some people up there that I wanted to see. Gonna get to shoot a couple of models up there. That's gonna be new that I'm gonna be getting into. So I got a lot of big things coming up. So I'm really, really happy about it. Really happy being on X. I'm only on X. I've got a couple of people follow me on Instagram, but I don't ever post them there. But X is it for me, and I appreciate all my friends. And it's wonderful to be with you when I can. Hopefully, we'll meet each other out on the trail one day.
For sure. Yeah, that would be great to have a get together. Your website, it's architectolder.com for people that are listening. Definitely check it out. You've got some fantastic prints on here, and that's really cool, Ayo. I'm very impressed by your website. It's great. I want to, if I can, I want to share a couple pictures here with you, Ayo. These are ones that I took. This is Bonaventure Cemetery. and this is just outside of Savannah, and it's it's beautiful. It's hot if you go there in the middle of the day like we did, but yeah, this is just look at that beautiful statue. There's so many pictures you can take here. Here's just a few that I took. This is this is a famous one here. This is really sad. This little girl that died. Liberty Mom says, "Ooh, I like that one." I don't know which one she was referring to. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, if you just keep your eyes open for details as you're traveling around the cemetery, see this little Egyptian detail here.
Yeah, I like the way you blurred the background in that one too. Made that to focus.
Yeah,
I like that shot.
Yep, thank you.
That's good.
Yeah, some of the pictures are in black and white. It kind of had that feel to it, you know.
Yep. When you're in the cemetery, that does. I found a couple of those cemeteries, and I like to shoot them in black and white too.
Yeah.
Because I like black and white anyway.
Whoops. One thing now, like I said earlier, I'm an Ohio boy, and we do not have magnolia bushes up here. So when I'm in the South and I see these glossy, kind of waxy leaves, it's always intriguing to me. So you see lots of these around Savannah. And look at this architecture. I don't know if you saw this house or not, AO, but this one really caught my eye.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of called the gun turret there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's beautiful. Really great condition.
Don't see that much anymore, do you?
No.
Yeah.
Now this is a detail from Forsyth Park in that fountain that you shared earlier.
I like that shot. Good detail catching the water spraying.
Yeah.
That.
Now my daughters would shoot me if they knew I shared this picture, but this right here is Chippewa Square, and right where they're standing is where that Forrest Gump bench was. So kind of give you an idea.
Yeah, and I could have thrown rock from my room. We had we stayed in an Airbnb that was above a little clothing store there, and it was like I say, last picture I took of Savannah. I walked out into the street, took a picture down there, and you could see it. And you could throw a baseball from where they're standing and hit my Airbnb. So
that's cool.
I love that Chippewa Square. I really did. I like the way they got that ivy or whatever it is there. Manicured out, and that's cool, man. But that is a beautiful park there. So if you go to Savannah, you're gonna see a lot of beautiful things, but definitely go to the squares. And I heard that you had to be careful going down there at night and all. I walked all over that city, and I felt safe. So
yeah,
me that's one counter to what they were saying. But I mean, I walked all over that place and was never in any kind of felt like I was in any kind of danger.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I walked out at night with my wife and took photos and never had an issue.
That's a beautiful photo.
Yeah, I love the Spanish moss and the flowers there. It's just really caught my eye.
People think that Spanish moss only grows in live oaks, but it grows on anything. And they also don't know, but you don't want to take any home with you because the chigger, which is a red bug that will get burrow in your skin, and itch you like crazy. Because if you've ever been to Georgia, you know what a chigger is.
Yeah.
And do not mess with Spanish moss. And there was a funny story about Henry Ford stuffing his seat. The upholstery in his seats with Spanish moss because he had a place down there or something. He got some of it anyway. And then the people started itching. So that's where are you itching to get a Ford? That's where that supposedly came from.
Funny. That's funny. Now this is actually the font in the church that you shared earlier, the Gothic church.
St. John the Baptist?
Yes, sir. This is looking right down in the font. And I loved kind of this Celtic knot in the green and the gold. I just thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. I think you attached that to one of my photos one time.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
And the Irish are very well represented in Savannah. I think Boston has the only larger St. Patrick's Day parade than than Savannah, but Savannah's supposed to be at one time was supposed to be about 47 to 50% of the population were Irish or
Oh,
descended from.
wow.
So
Now, I don't know if you saw this place or if you're familiar with it. This is the
I'm
Pirate
familiar,
House.
right?
And rumor has it that in the book Treasure Island, that it was kind of set in here at the beginning. At the beginning of the story, there's um, a bar and an inn, and the characters are in there. And Robert Louis Stevenson had been to this bar, and a lot of pirates and sailors used to frequent this place. This is back from the 1700s. This is still the original house, and you can go there and have dinner, which I did, and it's kind of a cool place to check out. And within the house is the Herb House from 1734. This is the oldest house in Georgia, so pretty historic place. It's kind of neat to go in there and have a dinner and walk around and check it out.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, those old stone like that. Thinking something from 1700 in Georgia. I mean, that just blows the mind.
Oh yeah, yeah, I really like that place. I think this might be my last picture, but this is, I think you know where this is, AO. This is kind of walking down by the Cotton Exchange. This road kind of takes you down to the water, and they made this cobblestone road out of all of the ballast stone that the ships would unload. So a boat it can't just float empty because it'll topple over and won't be really stable. So they load it up with ballast stone, and it keeps it steady. Then they get to where they're going to load their load, in this case cotton, and then they would unload all that stone as they're loading the cotton on. And so from all over the world, people had dumped their stones here in Savannah, and they made streets out of some of them. So
yeah, it's kind of a cool street going down there. It's close to the river and up there to stare. And that's where the Irish Park is, up there on the top. And then the Waving Girl is down toward the end of that. But there's two, it's like a big circle, and they got those stones there. But yeah, it's a cool area, cool city. I really hope you guys get out and go see it.
Yeah. I took this shot. It was like a long time lapse, or not time lapse, but I had the shutter open for a long time since it was nighttime. It really low light, and a car drove by and got that tail lights kind of streaming through there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool shot. And then you got it gives you an idea of where you're at because you got the stones. So that I really like that place.
Yeah,
right there. Washington's guns.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you'd seen these on the. These aren't far from there either. Close to the Waving Girl.
Right.
These are these were a gift from George Washington to the city of Savannah after the Revolutionary War. I don't know if it was right around 1790 or something like that.
It was. He made his southern tour where he went down and seen all. He just went from place to place to place, and when he was down there, he gifted him those guns that are down there close to the river, and that's right down from Churchill's Pub, because I was walking down through there and I seen Churchill's Pub, and I said, hey, I want to go over there and go have a beer in there where that was in that book of Midnight Good and Evil. In the Garden of Good and Evil, and so I took a couple of pictures of them, and I took a picture of the sign telling what George Washington had done.
Okay. Yeah, I really thought this was a cool place there. Seeing those, actually, these cannons were captured from Yorktown from the British. George Washington captured them there and then gave them to Savannah. So pretty cool.
I love that. That picture there is kind of Savannah too,
Yeah.
Is that they got a little something extra everywhere you go,
Yeah. This was just out walking around at night, and in the morning you go there, and these are all shops, and they've got cafes and stuff like that, and you get breakfast. But it's really cool at night with the gas lamps burning.
Yeah, I wished I hadn't had to leave early, but something came up and I said drop it. But I was going to spend another day in Savannah, and I was going to Charleston, and it was I got to go back now. And you come back and you see your pictures and you say, oh, I should have did this, or I should have did that, or I should have tried this angle or that, or I should have went early, or whatever. But there's just a million things down there that you can take a picture
Yeah.
of and enjoy, and just stuff like that. That's the aesthetic of Savannah, at least in the historic district, and that's what I like so well.
Yeah. And there was we're showing all the historical stuff, but kind of right there in the middle of the city too, there is a little, I don't know what you would call it. They've got shops, gift shops, restaurants. It's kind of like a little open air mall, and you can go there and get some pizza or whatever, ice cream, and there's like the what do you call it? I can't. I want to say abolitionist, not abolitionist. Prohibition. The Prohibition Museum. Did you see that one there? We went through that. That was pretty cool.
We went by, and somebody told me to go through it, but we, like I say, we had to cut our trip a day short, and just didn't get to see everything I wanted to do, which is fine because it's 4 or 5 hours away, and I can always go back. And I want to go back this fall. So the things I didn't get to do, things I didn't get to see, I want to go back, and then of course I'm going to go back and take some better pictures. But got to go to Bonaventure Cemetery, and for the ghost hunters out there. You want to go on, I think it's Saturday night, they have a walk to at after dark, and I definitely want to go do that too. So,
yeah,
a lot of things to see.
Yeah, we're coming up here to the end of the show, so if anybody has any questions you want to ask AO, feel free, chime on in. This Savannah is definitely a good place if you're just interested in the history. And like you said, there's lots of Revolutionary War history around there, battlefields, all kinds of stuff like that. Also, Civil War. But I was traveling with my two daughters and my wife, and they don't care so much about history, but they still had a good time because it's charming, it's beautiful, and like I said, there's other stuff there like the Prohibition Museum and some other things that can be fun for the whole family.
And
so
the
definitely.
food. And the food.
And the food. Yeah, for sure. I would recommend, like you said, once it cools off, doing a nighttime either a carriage ride or a ghost tour. Those are pretty fun. Same goes for Charleston. We did a horse-drawn carriage there, and it was fantastic. Great memories.
Absolutely.
Well, AO, you got anything before we wrap up? Is there any, one thing you want people to remember?
I think that I went down there not knowing really what to expect, and was pleasantly surprised throughout. Savannah is built around squares. You're going to want to spend a lot of time down there. There's all kind of things to do. I mean, it's just, to me, it was a great place. They got great food down there. There's some really like the Pirate House and Paula Dean's down there, and there's the Pink House or something, but there's all kind of restaurants. There's something down there for everybody. There's stuff down there for the young kids. There's stuff down there for old kids like me, and it's just I couldn't if I could go back tomorrow, I would, and I think that's the highest compliment I could pay them. There's stuff down there that I hadn't got pictures of that I would love to go down there and take pictures of again. So if I'd had another day or two. And then that will give you the jump up to Charleston, which maybe we can do a talk on it when I get back from it one day. But
yeah, that'd be great.
Anything that the damn summer's over. So.
Well, it sounds good. Well, right. Sir, I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate your account, and I'm very thankful for you joining me tonight, as always, and look forward to next time. So have a great night.
Thank you very much.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, buddy.